What's up, guys? It's me, Jordanthevoicesguy. So I just got through talking to my good pal Jeton, and we decided we're gonna do another one of these, and just keep talking.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah. So we just got done talking about movies and TV shows, mostly on Netflix and other streaming platforms, and we decided let's talk about improv because that's how we met.
Right.
Yeah, we're on an improv team together. It's been about 6 months, right? That was.
Let's do the actual calculation here. All right.
So it was late September, right? Early October, somewhere around there.
I think it was October. I think it was October 4th or 7th.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April. About 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been doing improv since 11th grade. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you? When did you start?
Yeah, so I didn't formally do improv until my freshman year of college. So it's been about 2 years. Before then, I was involved a lot and pretty heavily in theater in high school and middle school. I did a lot of like plays and musicals, and of course, kind of along with that is a bunch of improv workshops. So I was exposed to improv for a long time, but didn't think it was something for me until I got to college. And I got on the team Bird Strike last year, and it was a very rewarding experience, and I learned a lot. And so if you don't know already, this is my second year on the team, and Jordan got on the team on October, along with 2 other fantastic little improv birds. I want to hear about your experience so far on Bird Strike, and especially how it compared to your high school days.
I've enjoyed it so far. It's pretty chill for me because So for 2 years, in high school, we would practice for 2 hours after school every Monday, and that was kind of similar to what we did. We'd always, at least in the teams I've been in so far, it's always you start off, everyone does warm-ups, little games, whether it's playing Zip Zap Zop or Red Ball or whatever, and then we usually do practice scenes, and so it was a lot of the same structure for practice. Our practices here range from 2 hours to 3 hours. 2 hours Thursday, 3 Sunday.
Right.
Those were 2 hours. I mean, it's pretty similar for me. We do check-ins though, which I do enjoy.
Right.
Check-ins basically is when we all sit in a circle and we all get a chance to talk about the last few days since we saw each other, what's happened to us, what are we going through, any things that we feel like discussing with the group, and then we kind of just everyone gets a turn. We all listen. We try to listen. Sometimes we goof around a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I think it adds character.
It does. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It slows things down a bit. We got 2 hours and it goes, guys. We've been talking for 45 minutes. But I enjoy it though. Right. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's something interesting. I lied a little bit. I have been formally doing improv since last year, but I was on we had an improv troupe that was student led, and I was in that for a year. But it was terribly organized. No one showed up to practice, and no one showed up to our shows either. But the nice thing about at least Bird Strike and this group is the chemistry between each of the individual people really shows off and is apparent in our shows, and I think it really adds to the quality. And actually, in those little applications that you guys filled out to audition for the team, we all read them,
Because you guys, so for my high school team, you just showed up for an audition. But for this team, you guys said this online survey thing,
right?
So you had to fill out information. So you guys asked questions like, what performance things have you done in the past? So I was like, because I thought do I have to be this qualified? So I listed every little thing I'd done. One time I was at a fundraising event.
I think you mentioned something about 4th grade or.
Yeah, I didn't know. Anything that helps,
that was funny.
And then there was one part because I did my survey in the middle of the night because I forgot. And then one part was tell your story, and I was like, what am I supposed to put for this? I made up some story. I think it was about a muskrat or some weird animal, mongoose. It was about a mongoose.
A mongoose?
Yeah, I wrote a story about a mongoose, and I just made the whole thing up.
Wow.
And I just put it in there because I was like, I don't know if they're even going to read this. So I just put it in. But you guys read it.
We read them.
Yeah.
We read all of them. but it was entertaining. Yeah, a lot of the forms are. I remember when I filled out my form, I took it so seriously, because like this was your second, third week of college.
Yeah, I think
this happened in.
Yeah.
And it was at the same time for me, so it was like my second, third week of college, and I'm like, oh man, I have to like put on my best work, and I did essays for these questions, and later actually Sam and I both did essays for applications because we were like, oh man, we have to do like the best possible thing. And afterwards, everyone else on the team was like, yeah, you were totally overkill. We get it. You know how to write MLA citation style essays. But yeah, on those forums, a lot of people mentioned that like, oh yeah, I really want to join Bridge Strike because of like the people and this group that you have going on, which I hold pretty special, because I think that's like an interesting quality that really translates to really great and funny performances.
Yeah, because in my high school team, I loved the people on my team. But you could tell that there's a schism. You could tell that, these people are these people. And the first year I was on it, there were two very distinct groups on the team. There was the group of theater kids who were, trying to do improv, trying to be funny. Then there are the funny people who were trying to learn the skills of performance. And I had done some performance. I didn't done to the extent that you did, because you said you were involved heavily in theater. I was in there a little bit. I was a house manager. I didn't do any plays or like have any scripts to do. But I mean, I'd done it in the past, and so I knew a little bit of that, but I had started doing comedy more, and so I had this weird, like, I understand both groups, but I associated with the comedians more.
Right.
And even during practice, you could see that, we were sitting on opposite sides of the room, and, the captain who was on the theater side, he was definitely talking to those guys more. He treated them differently. And it caused friction. I remember one person on the team ended up leaving because it was just alive.
That's unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah, it was really sad. It made us all sit there and go, this probably isn't okay. And so we started to talk a bit more, and we mixed a bit more and got to know each other a little better, which definitely helped the improv. It helped their shows do a lot better. So, I mean, I'm very grateful that, we're all, getting lunch and stuff and doing podcasts together, that kind of thing, so we can get to know each other a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's important, and it definitely, there's a night and day difference between those who know each other performing on stage and those who don't. Yeah. If you remember at Fracas, did you get to see any of the jams that happened?
Fracas, I don't know if I did. No, I don't. Okay. Fracas is an improv festival that a bunch of college teams throughout California. I think there are a couple from Oregon.
Yeah, and Pennsylvania. They came from all over.
Yeah, a lot of college teams, they just come together and they perform together. We watched a couple of comedy groups in the Los Angeles area perform on a stage, and it was just a lot of fun. It was, I think, 2-3 days?
It was, 2 days.
Yeah.
And we got to do some workshops with some people from UCB and Upright Citizens Brigade and the Groundlings, which are two very highly regarded improv schools down there, which is always a great time. But it's interesting when you get to play and do improv with people from other teams, because you get people with different and varying styles and different levels of experience, and so you can definitely tell that your comfort level has a lot to do with how you end up doing on stage later on.
Because a lot of people may not realize that improv, though it is sort of this ideal that you're getting suggestions and doing scenes and whatnot, a lot of people do it differently, and some people don't really entirely understand what it is. Because I've been to places and I tell people, I do improv. They're like, tell me a joke, and I go, well, like I can, but that's not really what it is.
Or we were tabling out here, me and Jess, this other person on the team. And we're saying, hey, we're on an improv team, we have a show this Friday, and someone said, can you do some improv for us right now?
Yeah.
And we're like, that's not really how it goes. And the person's like, okay, you are in a gas station and you are trying to buy cigarettes at this gas station, but you are underage. What happens? Yeah. And we're like, well, this is not improv, and we're not going to do this for you, so have a good day. But, it's like there's this kind of misconception about what improv is, and I think the only way you can really understand and know is if you go to a bunch of shows and see it for yourself, and more importantly, like see different groups do improv, because I've even been to San Francisco to a place called Endgame's Improv, and they have a bunch of different groups that do improv. Some do it questionably, and and there's also the whole short form versus long form kind of battle that I don't really care too much about, but some people have very strong opinions.
I was actually talking to Jess about this the other day, this whole short form, long form thing. Because I do know a lot of people, very strongly because some people go like short form's bad. I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
right.
Because my thing is, because I was on a short form team in high school, because we weren't really allowed to do it in our league. I was part of this league down there, and the rules like, you're going to do short form. So the scenes that we did, not like different formats where it's like, you're going to have this sort of overarching idea that's going to drive it. Just a regular scene. We had this thing called 2-2-4, which is basically two people go out, and they interact, and they find a problem, then they leave. Two other people come in, same kind of thing, they find a problem, and then the other two come back, and then they have to resolve it somehow. And it was very restrictive, and it was just, they didn't allow for a lot of creativity.
Right.
And so when I came here, and you guys were like, you get to tag and swipe, and it doesn't really matter how many people come out. I mean, generally one or two or three. But it was very fluid, and it allowed for more creative ideas. So I enjoyed that freedom.
Right. I think it's an important freedom to have too. I mean, I think the long form and short form breeds two very different types of improvisers. And you have those who can kind of work within the boundaries, and the hits on the pattern and the laughs are much more calculated.
Yeah.
I guess like there's that whose line is it anyway thing, where it's like things you would say to your dog but not your girlfriend, and then you're like, haha, let's all just do sex jokes or stuff revolving like let's all do. The joke comes from like, this is about relationships or romance or whatever, and you're like, okay, I get it. The joke is there, it's all built up, the audience is expecting something. Sure. But I really think the beauty of long form comes in like, you don't know what's going on or what's about to happen, and the audience does not know what's about to happen, and the expectations aren't there yet. The only expectation they really have is like, I hope this is funny. And it's kind of up to us to make it so, but the world we live in, the universe we create, is entirely up to us. And,
sure. I as a whole think that yes, long form does allow for more creativity and allows for less expectation from the audience. But I always think that short form, I enjoy watching it and I enjoy doing it, and I always think that it's a good foundation for long form. Like, I think so. That's where I was drilled on things like space work, which is basically just creating a world around you that's not there, like making sure you open doors properly and there's a counter or a table.
Right.
I was drilled on that. I was drilled on creating characters and finding relationships, and those were all things that were done within short form formats that we did. And so I think that was part of what could have helped me get on this team, because I had those skills that I had to do for 2 years. So like I don't think that short form is bad. I just think it's more restrictive, but I still enjoy it. I would still go and watch a short form show.
Right.
Even if it's not a high school team. I watched an adult team do it. I think about a year ago. It was amazing. I love that show.
I do think it's unfair to say one type is better or worse than the other. I think you can prefer one over the other, but I think it's wrong to say short form is an incorrect form, because that's not true. But we do tend to do more long form as a team anyway. So and I also really enjoy. You were mentioning that like on your old team you had the theater kids and the non-theater kids, and I think if you look at all of our majors on the team, we don't really have any theater majors, although you are I'm cinema major.
Yeah, cinema and digital media. And I think I'm the only one whose major is kind of centered around entertainment.
Right.
Everyone else is sort of like physics or biology or cell biology. It's like, how'd you guys get into this?
It's a very weird mishmash group of people, and I personally take much pride in that. When we went to Fracas, the improv festival, you talk to everyone else, and they're like, this is like. When you're down at USC, the improv team at USC they're going to be people who want to do improv, as like their career in life. They're probably going to move to Chicago or stay in LA, do improv until they kind of find their niche. But for us, we just kind of have improv as this thing that we all collectively enjoy, and everyone else on campus kind of really likes us. I think we're still technically the only team on campus. Not really sure what's going on with the other one.
Yeah, there are these rumors that another group is starting. And they have a Facebook page, and like occasionally they'll post something, and it's like at practice, but it's like, when's your show?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I would welcome them with open arms.
Absolutely.
For more teams to pop up. I just want to know what's going on.
Exactly. I mean, improv teams are pretty fickle, I think. Yeah. It takes a lot to organize them, and typically improvisers aren't the most... I'd say they're not the most organized group of people.
No.
And so just kind of there are a lot of hoops to jump through regarding like the school and booking rooms and all that stuff. So, but I'm very glad we have an improv team. I'm very glad Bird Strike has been here, and it's been like a formative group of people for me, at least. And maybe you'll find the same. You're in your first year only. Little freshman. It's I hope you've gotten a lot out of it so far.
I have, yeah. I mean, you guys are some of my closest friends here. That's I'm not just saying that because we're on a team. Like, I really do think that I've gotten to know you guys. Because when I first, because what happened was you guys were advertising auditions and whatnot. You had a show before the auditions. And you were actually the first person I met on the team. Okay. I don't remember if it was on the street. No, I saw you on the street later. I came to the show, and you guys were at the door, collecting money. And you were like, "Hi, welcome to Bird Strike Theater." And I said, "Hey, you guys are holding auditions soon, yeah?" And you're like, "Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there." And I was like, "Okay." And I was still on the fence about doing it because I was like, I kind of did. Because in high school, I was just the announcer for about a year, so I was in practice and I participated for all of that, but I was never really in the shows. So I was like, I've only done a couple of shows and one or two festivals, so I don't really know yet, but I'll try it. And I watched the show and I was like, okay, it was good. I still wasn't sure who you guys were. That was the thing. I couldn't get a grasp on anybody. I had this idea maybe these guys are like this. I don't know if they feel this way or think this way, but I'll go to the audition and check it out. And yeah, I mean, you guys are just a lot of chill people, and we all get along pretty well. And it is this cool idea that, like we said, there's diversity in the group. Because, I love Whose Line Is It Anyway? You can definitely see it and go, okay, I guess in the earlier seasons, okay, it's at least 4 white dudes all doing improv, and maybe Wayne Brady will be there to,
all dudes, yeah.
I mean, here we have 7 guys, 5 girls.
Yes, and we actually had an equal split last year before you came. We had 6 and 6.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's three minorities to my knowledge, right? 3 of us. Yeah, it's me. Is anyone else? Because I don't think anyone else is a minority. Right?
Maybe.
I mean, three's a good number.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about
I'm half Latino, but it's I'm a white dude by all accounts.
Oh, we got 3.5 then. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah. So, even when we did Fracas, when we got to see other teams, even that is diversity to a sense. We get people who come from different backgrounds. And some of them maybe just started improv. Some of them may have been doing it for 10 years. So the idea that we all come from different places and can bring different things to scenes, I think is the fun part. Because I definitely had a lot of memorable scenes that I watched or was in. The other people, there was this one girl who I did a scene with, and 20 minutes after, she's like, "That was so much fun we did up there." And it was just 2 minutes, but it was a lot of fun, and I still remember it.
Yeah, and they only exist for that short period of time, and it's very different from normal theater in that your experiences are short, but they're very impactful because it's the only chance to build that relationship, and when it's good, it feels a million times better.
And that's the cool thing about performance art, is they can be so impactful to people. Because I've done performances, and then people 2 years later will go "Oh, I remember you did Fred Flintstone." Well, I don't even remember that.
Right.
When was that? Did I do that?
It happens all the time here. They're like, "Oh, I remember that one scene when oh yeah, you and Sam did this, and then Parker did that, and I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? And as long as you remembered it, then like it had an impact on you, and that's why people keep coming back, because they want to have those moments where everything kind of fits together. And so many people, you know, time after time will come to our shows and still don't believe that everything we do is entirely made up.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, there has to be like some little code or little hand signals that you do, or like little pre-written scripts. And the truth is, no, it's all entirely made up. And what you see is what we're creating for the first time, and is the product of our practice and our relationships outside of improv and our life experiences.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a wide variety of ages as well on the team, and a bunch of life backgrounds. And so the more you kind of go through life, you can pick up on the serious and the funny and incorporate that into your scenes. And it's a very special thing.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Because I've been watching improv since I was, I think, 11. I think that was the first time I saw a show. I forget if it was either because I have two experiences. I consider either one to be my first. First was I saw the high school team I would eventually join when my sister was getting her orientation, and I went to it, and then they were like doing a free show, and I just walked in. I was like, oh, this seems funny, and it just kind of like stuck in my brain. I watched it for like, I think maybe half an hour, and then another performance that I may have been the first one. A family friend invited us to see this unscripted show. It was this group that they every show they choose a theme. So he's usually an author or a certain style or a show. Like they've done Twilight Zone unscripted, Emily Dickinson. And then when I saw it was Charles Dickens unscripted. And what they did was they had like a set that was sort of Dickinson, like the frost on the windows and the holly berries and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they all wore like Dickinson clothes. Right. And then they all had top hats and, you know, the petticoats. And then they just got a suggestion at the start of the show, which was Cookie. And they did, I think it was like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour play. Wow. That was completely improvised with just the word cookie. That's insane. And it was amazing. I was a child. I still remember that to this day. I remember there was a lady who did like this weird pose as a boar statue. Right. Like her fangs and her claws out. And I remember it vividly. It was this amazing show. Mm-hmm. And so I realized what improv was at an early age, but I didn't fully understand it. But as years went on, I watched more, and I watched Who's Line and other sort of improv things, and you know, it just kind of grew on me. Right. It takes a lot of that. Once you get into it, there's so much material to kind of look at, and it's a medium that is very quickly understood, but takes a while to really understand and master. The example that sticks out to me is a troupe called Baby Wants Candy, and they're from Second City in Chicago, and I saw them when they came to my school. And what they do is improvise musicals based off of a suggestion. So like a musical was like, I think Amish Girls Gone Wild was their suggestion. And they made a full hour and a half long musical with the musical director, complete with musical numbers, and each number had its, you know, chorus and the bridges, and everything was perfect and immaculate and just really well done. You couldn't even tell it was unscripted. Oh my God. And that experience stuck with me, and I had the pleasure of doing a workshop with them, which is why they were at my school. And then I saw them again when I went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland 2 summers ago. So they were kind of like my influence in kind of seeing the potential of improv, because it's one thing to just kind of see it and be impressed. It's another thing to see what improv looks like a million years down the line, where it feels like it can't get any better than that. And so for me, I'm like constantly striving for that kind of feeling that, you know, it looks improvised, but you can't even tell, right? Yeah. It's supposed to be improvised, but like they may as well be speaking from a script or singing from a script. I mean, if you've sung or done musicals before, you know how many hours are done just drilling into songs and making them perfect and having the timing right. But like, there's so much that goes into that, and then adding improv on top of it is just amazing addition. I would love to see it. I've always wanted to do musical improv. I think we've tried it a couple times in practice, right? We could, but it's just you really need a good musical director who's really good at improvising music, which is music theory to a whole other level.
And then you need, improvisers that also understand music theory and can be like, oh, we're in a minor key now, let's do minor keys. And you can kind of like, sense the different riffs and the builds up in the leads and the ramps. So you really have to like have a fluid understanding of that. So it takes a lot of practice, but hey, one day we could get there.
Because I can kind of freestyle, rhyme a bit, improvise. Like I did it the other day, like right out there actually. There's an acapella group on campus, and I was like just hanging out with them, and then I was just freestyle rapping. So then I every once in a while I trip up on words and whatnot, so I can like kind of do it.
Right.
But like I definitely don't think I could do like a musical.
Yeah. We do rapping.
Yeah, we rap in practice, which I really enjoyed that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was one thing I thought I could never do, and then lo and behold, it's something we do nearly every practice.
And it's funny. The really funny part about it is that I don't think they deny this. I feel like most of the team, including myself at times, don't have rhythm.
Oh, absolutely.
So we on beat, we'll have a beat going, and it's like, I went to the store and got grapes. And that doesn't work.
You're like, well, you're not gonna put that out on SoundCloud, am I right?
No, never. But I mean, it's still a good time. We enjoy it.
Right. No, we love it, and it definitely it's a good exercise to keep us on our toes and support no matter what.
Of course. I think if we were to do musical improv, I don't know if we could improvise a tune. I think maybe if we took like a simple tune like Yankee Doodle and just like made a song to that could maybe work. But even then, it would be tricky.
Maybe. I mean, like it's hard because music conveys a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And how are you going to deal with a really sad scene, Yankee Doodle, right? Or excitement versus kind of like somber and relaxed, right? The beauty about it is that it can convey so much, and to improvise it is really tough.
Yeah. The only way that I feel like I could possibly do it is doing kind of like Who's Line when they did Hoedowns, an Irish drinking song.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's the only way I could possibly do it.
Yeah, and that's even more structured, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if we started like at a more structured level and kind of loosen the belt a little more time after time, we could probably get there.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but just the logistics of it.
It is.
Get everybody, because I feel like a lot of them would want to do it first of all.
Yeah.
I would be down.
I mean, I'd be down, but like I would be skeptical of our success.
Yeah.
Without a lot of practice, and we really try and hone in on our long form skills and tagging, swiping, relationships, space work, all that kind of stuff is like we have to have that down pat before we attempt other stuff.
Yeah, true. Because I know I definitely need work. Like I think one of the things to always keep in mind for those of you who want to do improv is that there's always room to grow. Because even with people who are amazing, let's say you take like Tina Fey or Amy Poehler, people like them. I mean, even that they're still learning stuff.
Right.
Even though they're like these gods and goddesses that we praise, oh my gosh, we read their books and whatnot, they're still learning stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's the joy about improv.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. There's I know we're close to done reading or learning about improv, and it's a nice thing about you should expose yourself to as many improv styles as possible. There are improv styles I like disagree with and maybe don't enjoy, but like I'll watch them and read them and hear about them to sort of understand where other people are coming from. I think if you're listening to this and you want to get into improv, the very best thing you can do for yourself is just go for it, and try out for a team if you have that available to you. If it doesn't work out, there are so many resources online to learning more about improv and understanding the basics and the fundamentals, and most of when we were assessing people and doing auditions, what we looked for wasn't improv experience at all. What we looked for was the qualities of a great teammate. And if I were to have this person on my team, would I trust them in that they would support me whatever my decisions were, and we chose you because you were an extremely supportive player, and we chose a lot of other people, and a lot of other people went very far in the audition rounds without any improv experience, just because of how supportive they were, just because of their ability to take risks and build this big character and have a diverse set of characters to choose from. So the best thing you can do for yourself is put yourself out there. If you have the team, join it, and look up the many resources that are available to you.
It's actually, this is a 100% true story. This was a few weeks ago. I was back home for spring break, and I went to, I was at Little Caesars, of all places.
Okay.
I was late at night, and I was like, I haven't had Little Caesars in like I think it was about a year since I had it, because I did this video for class called Pizza Love. So I ate a lot of Little Caesars, and I just couldn't stomach it. So I went, but I was like, it's been a while. So I went there, and I'm at the counter, and I was wearing my old high school improv team shirt. And I ordered it, and he's like, it'll be like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right. And he goes, and he just out of nowhere says, so how do I get into improv? And I was like, what? He's like, I realized I was wearing the shirt, and I was like, And then I said like similar things what you said. So for like 5 minutes, we just talked about improv.
Right.
This guy who worked at Little Caesars,
Yeah.
he wanted to know. And I was like, well, I mean, like, my high school team is doing a show next week, so check that out. And
Yeah.
I told him about like the improv groups I'd seen in downtown, and like, there are all these shows all over the place.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing, watching shows and just watching it and absorbing it and trying to understand how it works. And,
Right.
like you said, putting yourself out there, because that's all you can do, really.
My sister did the same thing. She's 30 and she lives in New York, and I visited her over winter break for New Year's, and she was like, so I want to try doing improv. How do I do that? And I'm like, well, first of all, you're in New York, which is like one of the best places to be for improv. Yeah. If you're still in school and in high school or middle school or going to college, the clubs and teams that you have on campus are going to be your best resource. But if you're in like a big city center, a lot of schools, improv schools, have classes that are really helpful. San Francisco has a couple called Endgames, and one more that's escaping me. LA obviously has UCB and Groundlings, as well as a bunch of other smaller ones.
And Chicago's got
Second City,
yeah.
And UCB as well. So I mean, if you are in a major city center, you can just literally type in, San Diego improv, and classes will pop up. And you know what? It may not be your style, and that doesn't mean you should stop. But I think it's really important to just take that first step and connecting with other people who are doing improv and seeing what the environment is around you, because it is very much geographically dependent. If there wasn't Bird Strike here in Davis, there wouldn't be a place for people to convene and really do improv. Really?
No. If anything, Sacramento, maybe.
Maybe
that's like half an hour.
Yeah, Sacramento has the place, but like that's not Davis at all.
No.
And so we try to. You haven't been here for this, but we used to try to put on workshops for the community, and so people who maybe either didn't get on the team before or were just community members and not students who wanted to try improv. We did a couple of workshops for everyone to come and play and see what it's all about. And so I hope we do them eventually at some point.
I'd love to do that. Sounds like fun. Because we did like a small one for the Hello group, didn't we?
That wasn't really a workshop. That was main. Well, you're right. We did some exercises with them. Some groups ask us to do like outreach stuff, like can you do like one little set and then like do some improv games with us.
Oh, okay.
But we used to actually, as Bird Strike, say, hey, Wednesday nights come out to this room, and regardless if you're a student or whoever or any improv experience, we're all just gonna learn some improv together.
It's like a full-fledged class?
It wasn't a class necessarily.
It was like a
workshop.
Okay.
Yeah. Before my time, they used to be weekly, and then when I came on, I think we did 2 of those kind of workshops or 3 of those workshops. Parker did one, and then we did some other ones. Like we did one in the Arboretum, in conjunction with like the Arboretum itself, like the organization that runs it, which was really interesting. And you'll notice that there will be repeat people who show up to these workshops and then will come and audition for us, and so like they clearly want to be involved, but like we obviously can't take everyone who's interested, and that's just because of a size thing. And it sucks that we are a small team at a school with 30,000 people, and I'm sure there are many people out there who want to do improv, but just like we don't have the space for us physically. Yeah.
With time, perhaps if this other team shows up.
With time, maybe. I mean, like I said, I would have nothing against another team showing up. It's just, like I said, the logistics are hard, and I think it's awesome to have a community like that. Berkeley has several teams. I think 5.
Oh, really?
Teams. 2 of them are like exclusively short form and are charity based. Another ones do long form. Jericho does mainly long form. So, I think we're like the largest campus I know of with only one team, which is really interesting and surprising. It's great for us because we get a huge audience.
Yeah.
The first show you came to,
it was packed.
It was so packed. I think we had something close to like maybe 400 or 450 people.
Yeah, people were sitting in, because we do shows in a lecture hall, and people were filling the seats. People were sitting on the stairs, even a little bit on the floor where we perform.
Yeah, and I mean, if we put more promotional effort, we could do that almost every week. But we have a pretty good name presence on campus. Most people know who we are, and yeah, it's a joy to do college improv, I think, because when you get out in the real world, the adult improv teams really struggle with bringing in an audience. But because we're like a part of Davis, a part of this already great college community, people really want to come out and support us and watch us and laugh.
Yeah, because I know people who say, like, we go to the Bird Strike shows because there's like not much else to do, because we do shows on Friday nights,
right?
Which is people trying to find stuff to do. So it's like Friday night you're either gonna go to a party, you're gonna go maybe get dinner, or stay home, or study. No one wants to do that. So hey, this group's doing a show. It's $1 suggested donation, and people just come in and they get to watch
exactly
for an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, if I hadn't made the team, I know I would have come out every show, because it's something I enjoy, and clearly other people enjoy, because there are faces I see every week or every other week.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's really cool to see people come back, and also good to see the new faces. We get a good group of new faces each and every single time. So yeah, that's just the joy of college improv. If you're thinking about it, do it. It's not a huge commitment. Even Jordan was mentioning we have like 5 hours of practice each week, but with a college schedule, it's completely doable. So if you're thinking about it, if you're in high school, I highly suggest you do it. College, I highly suggest you do it. Yeah, it's a great experience.
Well, Jeton, we've been talking for about 38 minutes about improv.
Wow.
So I think this is probably a good place to... So, I mean, that was a good ending now. I don't know who stuck around. This might be like 4 parts. It's fine.
It can be like part 2 extended.
Exactly.
Or, I don't know, something like that.
That was a good... well, thank you very much for being here. This is the longest conversation I've had with anybody on this, because I've only had my sister. And
I remember that.
20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for having me on, and I really hope that we can talk again. And it's been a great time. I've been Jeton.
You've been Jeton.
I've been Jeton.
Now he's Florence.
Maybe I will be something else.
Yeah. All right, take care, everybody. Do you want to say bye, or?
Yeah, bye. Thanks for having me on the show. I know it wasn't your choice, but thanks for listening to me, Jordan's audience. Jordan's a great guy.
I'm all right.
He's an all right guy.
Yeah, I do my part. I do what's needed of me. All right, take care, everybody. See you.